Hey everyone, welcome back to MTG Spec and another binder video. We are going to continue on. Alright. Oh my god. Already messing up the video. How's everybody been? Alright, so we have our usual front page that's like an assortment of every different CCG out there, I guess, or a weird assortment. I like this one because you have the Mon Calamari guy and the water nymph meeting at the Seafarer's Key. It's kind of fun. All right. No more. All right, and then our first game. Now, this is continuing the chronological order of their games releases. So after the first page, which is just kind of a potpourri of nonsense, then we get into the sets as they were released. So the first set in here is Shadow Fist. I think where we left off before, we'd gone through Spellfire, the D&D, up through like Rage. So all the early stuff. Shadow Fist, again, this was another one. As soon as it came out, people were like, oh man, this is going to blow Magic out of the water. And it had a lot of the same artists, like Mark Tadine, Nene Thomas. So it had some cool art. Had weird cards like Ninja Interior Decorators. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of fun. All right. Then we have Highlander. Oh, my God. Highlander, y'all. Yeah, this collected stuff from the movies and the TV show. So this was a really epic one. Instead of Deckmaster, it said Swordmaster. I actually just noticed that for the first time. I love this Roland Gift from the Fine Young Cannibals, one of my favorite bands from the 80s. He played Xavier St. Cloud. And so I have Roland gift cards, not redeemable at Starbucks. All right, Guardians. This CCG lasted about maybe 5-6 sets, but it's one of the most beautiful CCGs ever produced. Just really unparalleled. This was the very first CCG that that really played into the full art type cards. Like they did that quite a bit, much more so than any others I can think of. Although Spellfire had art that bled to the edges sometimes, but this one was really cool. I loved it a lot. Just incredible art. A lot of these guys who did the art, like Plug, can't think of all the different artists, but anyway, they had a bunch of Parkinson, Plug. These guys were like really solid fantasy artists, and a lot of the creatures had weaknesses, sort of like Pokemon, where they would be susceptible. Like the lips meant babes bribery, the gold meant gold bribery, and the beer tankard meant beer bribery. So you could bribe off a lot of the monsters. It was kind of fun. But like, check out this art, man. It's just such a treat. So good. Hey, buddy. My cat's a Guardians fan. What's that, buddy? All right. What you want, baby? Kitty. This guy was really good too, Dennis Bavai. He did my favorite Aliens comic ever. He did really cool, like fully painted artwork. What's that, kitty? All right, then we get into Legend of the Five Rings, which again was a big game for a long time. This also had a pretty epic story where the direction of the card game was actually allowed to be determined by the outcome of some of the tournaments. So I remember at one point, like, I don't remember the exact clans, but let's say there's like a world championship where like Lion was fighting the Unicorn or the Crane clan or something like that. And they decided to form an alliance, like in the at the convention, and so that actually made its way into the story. But very detailed art, and a lot of the same guys like Doug Schuler, Mark Tadine, Anson Maddox, just a lot of really good guys. Some of these pages are like, like this is all Mark Tadine. Hey, buddy. Oh, Mr. BB. Yeah. You gonna look at some cards with me? And then we got, was this Anson Maddox over here? Hey, buddy. I just got home from work. He's been lonely all day. What's up, buddy? All right. Then, Quentin Hoover. Even the tokens look epic. Like, check that token out. Like, that's so good. And then it went into a... so you can see the different card backs as they went into a second edition. Still maintained a high level of art quality. This guy, Gonzalo Ordonez, he did a lot of stuff later on for UFS, Ultimate Fighting System game. God, I love the art on these. So epic. This is one of those games that it had a steep learning curve because it tried to integrate like combat as well as a lot of politics. So it was definitely kind of a slow play game. Oh, what's up, buddy? Yeah, it's good to see you. My kitty's up here on the chair. Yeah, BB, what's up? All right, so after Legend of the Five Rings, we get into Middle Earth, The Wizards. This was the first game ever based on J.R.R. Tolkien. I got that lovely Eye of Sauron card back, really cool. And this was a really good game. At least it lasted quite a while. I found it difficult to understand the mechanics of the game, but because they had all these different dominions and areas where creatures were allowed to be played. But it had a lot of really cool concepts to it. Probably the neatest thing that they did with this was involved the ring itself. There's Gandalf. But again, incredible art, Quentin Hoover art. I think Quentin Hoover did most of the cards in this page. Okay, so with the rings, the objective of the game was to throw the one ring into the volcano or whatever, the cracks of doom, which was very difficult to do. But every time you would encounter a precious gold ring or fair gold ring, a beautiful gold ring, you'd have to roll to see if it was the one ring. So you'd have to roll like a perfect 12 if it was a beautiful gold ring, or between 10 and 12. Anyway, it created a system where, the win condition was actually kind of like randomized. So that was kind of a weird thing that they haven't really ever done before or since. At least not that I'm aware of. All right, so then we get into something really epic. This is the Star Wars CCG by Decipher. Decipher, the company, in my opinion, produced the greatest CCGs ever known to man in terms of just absolute beauty. And most of them were, based on franchises. They were the ones that did the Star Trek CCG. They did this Star Wars CCG. But the way these cards were designed and engineered is just really unparalleled. I could do a whole video just talking about the game and how cool it was. But I'm just going to let the cards speak for themselves here. And most of my binder pages, I'll dedicate usually an odd number, 3, 5, 1 page to a game. This one I think has 17 because I loved it. So these are the locations. This is the equivalent of basic lands. Every time you would play one of these, you'd have lightsabers, light side and dark side colored blue and red lightsabers. And those indicated the amount of mana basically that you could play, or the force that you could activate. They had creatures that just sort of roamed the board independently. This game also was interesting because every time you would play out a land card, or like one of these locations, they had a lot of strictures, like it had to be indoors or outdoors or underground or whatever. And so you had a game board kind of building up where you could play all of your characters. So we have vehicles, AT-AT walkers, of course. Some of the creature vehicles actually had ability, which was basically, units of force attunement. So if you had two banthas together, they would have as much ability as like one warrior, and so you could actually battle with them at a site. You had to have somebody with ability at a site in order to start a battle, typically. All right, we get into the devices, the lightsabers. These were some incredibly broken cards. I don't even know what the magic equivalent would be. It'd be like almost like, what if you had a lightning bolt that could also mill for 3 or something? Like for the same cost over and over though. It's pretty wild. Milling was basically how you won the game. If you depleted all of your opponent's force piles, their force pile represented, they would use force so that they could play cards, but then it would like go back under the pile. So if you could mill out their deck, that's how you won typically, because the deck was the deck, but it was also their mana base. It was weird. It was a very elegant system though, really cool. Oh, I used to play a Death Star Plans deck that used to piss people off so bad. This was a card where you could retrieve force, so you could basically regrowth like 6, 7, 8 cards per turn. And I was playing a bunch of droids, so they couldn't battle me because droids didn't have ability. It was a very intricate game, very cool. You can see here we have Ewan McGregor. So this game, they fleshed out the entire original trilogy, and then they had a little bit of episode 1 before Lucasfilm yanked the license. My boy Boba Fett. And this was a really cool card. This actually was the card back of the card. Usually they had the Star Wars light and dark side card backs. But that was a really cool one where it was a dark side card, but you were playing Jabba's Prize, which was a persona of Han. That was really neat. God, this game, so much to talk about with this game. I may do future videos on Star Wars. Some of the characters like Mace Windu or the Emperor here have like little lightsaber icons. That means that they're Jedi Masters, but it also means that you can activate Force. So they're basically like mana dorks as well as highly powerful characters. This Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight's about $100 card. This was an ultra rare from one of the last major sets, the Death Star 2 set. It was the last one of the storyline. So the cards in this game retain some value for sure. And they would occasionally have spies that could play on your opponent's side of the table. And then they would do like sneaky things like Leia as Boosh or Han as TK422. They would give them dark side cards. By the way, I just think this is really cool. When they designed this game, they actually made the card frames with all these beaten metal looking things. They actually made these out of metal. All for all the different designs, and they actually beat the crap out of them in their backyard. And so all these things with the flecked paint, where the Rebels have like kind of a flecked used look because they're sort of low budget, and then the Empire has like a very steely polished look. It's really neat how they realized all this stuff in the cards. And all the Rebels just, they feel scrappier because of the beautiful frames. This was one of my biggest complaints about MetaZoo, is that they didn't put a ton of thought into the frames and the overall look of the cards. Although some of the design work certainly is cool. It's a trap. This was kind of a cool card where the Executor, the Darth Vader ship, was like so long, elongated that they flipped the card so that it would look bigger, or look more like a widescreen image. It's pretty cool. All right. And then we escape out the Death Star reactor at the last second.